begin with a poem. One of the first poems I learned at St. Gregory's. It's called Rainbow. My heart leaps up when I see the rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began. So is it now I am a man. So be it when I shall grow, or let me die. The child is father of the man, and I could wish my days to be, found each to each by natural piety. I think it is fitting that this poem I just recited should be the last poem I recite as a student at Gregory Academy. When I walked up this aisle a few moments ago, I came up as a student with my class. In a few moments more, I'll walk back with my class, but I will no longer be a student. I am moving on, together with my friends, to different days, to a different life. And this poem resonates with the passing of time. And I refer both to the passing of days and the maturing of the mind. Good poetry, as I'm told, only gets better with time. And I know it's true with this one. There's always been a guide to me through my time at St. Gregory's. It has taught me what this school is about and helped me learn from this school not only how to become a man, but also, and more importantly, what kind of man I should become. The Rainbow is a poem about the journey from childhood to manhood, and so has it kept me on course as I undertook the journey to St. Gregory's. Gregory Academy is a journey that in many ways embodies the epic tales we love to read, and that inform the way we look at our lives and the world around us. This pilgrimage is not always as grand or elaborate as the wonders chronicled in Homer's Odyssey. However, it shares in a similar life-changing experience and adventures. Just as Odysseus' goal was to reach his home, so too is our goal as students to finish the course and return home. But we learned from Odysseus that he cannot reach home until he has been changed in some significant way. He must return to Ithaca as a new man, having put aside his profession as a sacker of cities on the windy plains of Troy. Similarly, as students, we cannot leave until we have been affected in some way by the Spirit. Until we have become stronger by bearing up under challenge, until we have learned to live and to love no longer as boys, but as men. Every student's experience at St. Gregory's is different. To some, the journey may seem as long and treacherous as the trials of Odysseus. Rugby practice may seem as daunting as fighting the stallion-breaking Trojan. And study hall is terrible as having your brains dashed out by the cyclone. I don't think anyone thinks of this school as Calypso's Island, which they probably should. Others might relate towards the journeys of Telemachus, who had a short, simple voyage to learn more about himself, the world around him, and the man who was called to become. And to return home like his father Odysseus, a changed man, no longer a boy. Whether someone has the experience of Odysseus or Telemachus, the person, the child, is changed for the better for embarking on this journey. The whole point of this is that St. Gregory's provides a mold for manhood by giving the young an experience of hardship, both its rigors and its rewards. This is the essence of the education we receive here. It is also the essence of true faith, to come home to ourselves, both physically and spiritually. My journey began, as most do, at the beginning. But like a true epic, it has also begun in the middle of things. For I find myself suddenly on board with a hardy crew that has already undergone a great adventure, and I was fortunate enough to be given a space on the bench and an oar to pull. I came to St. Gregory's as a freshman in 2011. At that time, I knew nothing about St. Gregory's except the legends that my brothers had told me. It wasn't until about a month into the school year that I began to see what St. Gregory's was about. In my freshman literature class, I learned a poem called The Rainbow by William Wordsworth. As I learned this poem by heart, and Mr. Fitzpatrick shared some of its secrets with me, I began to see what kind of adventure I was getting into. I learned from this poem that the child is father of the man, that what we do in our youth affects the men we will become, the men who will be born out of our childhood. My quest at St. Gregory's was not one for the golden fleece or a golden city, but for manhood. St. Gregory's fathers men from boys. What kind of men, I did not yet know when I first set out. But I knew what I would find out at the end of my journey, when I would find myself become a man. There were, of course, some dark stretches in my journey, a descent into the underworld, you might say, after the good ship went down in 2012. But the crew of St. Gregory's rose again to new life, reborn to carry on its quest. The spirit of St. Gregory's is not confined to a building, as we have seen. The spirit of the wanderer is hard to drown beneath the gulfs. Our school is much more than a building, just as a voyage is much more than a ship. Other vessels can be fashioned so long as the crew's purpose holds, to sail beyond the sunset and the battles of all the western stars. You have not yet yielded. The rainbow returned after the storm. The adventure goes on. I could tell you all the beautiful poems that we have studied and memorized, all the incredible books we have read. I could tell you about all the escapades we've gone on singing and juggling in New York, and all the strange and interesting people we've met on our stranded adventures. And all the things that have affected me in little and large ways at my moment. But that would take 4 years to tell. I will, however, tell you at the end results. What I have found after striving and seeking over these 4 years. The men of St. Gregory's are men with a sense of duty, a sense of responsibility. Young men who are able to give the right response at the right time, whose hearts leap up when they behold the miracles of our God. Men who know when to rejoice and when to be serious. Men who know when it is good to act like boys and when it is good to act like men. Young men who know what is sweet in life and what is terrible. Men who are ready to go out into the world unafraid, confirmed and well armed by their experience of the good, the true, and the beautiful. Although many of my classmates joined me mid-journey, as I, and all of us for that matter, joined the school in the middle of its journey. We have all undertaken the same course together, and together we have listened to and followed the truth of the poem, The Rainbow. The children we were in the beginning have become men at last. We set out on our journey, and having been changed by the experience, by the adventure, may we keep the lessons and love instilled in us by St. Gregory's. And we shall grow old, or let us die. I thank God for this school, for this class of friends, and for our parents and teachers, who sacrificed so much to give us these gifts. Now we depart on our own journeys, having been strengthened by this journey together, which is now coming to a close for us. We will never forget these adventures, and our hearts will always leap up when we recall these days of our youth and the birth of our man. And may it ever fill us with a natural piety, that love for essential, lovable things, that will push us ever onwards, whatever adventures lie ahead.